Being able to take perspective into your own hands is liberating. It gives you a sense of freedom from the perspective of others, and it allows you to root down into the perspective of yourself. What is good, beautiful individuals? It is your boy Captain Dub, back at it again with another segment of Flow. Sorry if I sound a bit nasally today. I did catch a little bit of a cold. I wouldn't call it a cold, just a little bit of phlegm, a little bit of mucus up in my sinuses and whatnot. But for today's segment of Flow, we will be touching on perspective. So let's get into it. Perspective is powerful, and when you can truly understand and understand what perspective is, you start to gain a tighter grasp on your reality that you live in the control over your life as a whole. Perspective not only allows you to understand yourself, it allows you to understand the people around you and the world you live in. That's just really going on right now. That's crazy. Perspective can be your passport or your prison. You can be stuck inside a perspective of ignorance and ego, or you can find freedom in your perspective and the perspective of the people around you. You can understand that everybody will have their own perspective that is unique to them because of the experiences they've had throughout their life and the goals, passions, and values that someone has. And I feel like the direction you can take a step towards in using the understanding of perspective is to truly understand and know your own. Know that yours is different, and know that yours is malleable to any form that you want it to take. I feel that the difference between a successful person and somebody who feels that they are lesser than is rooted in their perspective. I feel like the most successful people understand how to control their perspective. May it be subconsciously or consciously, they know how to perceive the situations that they are in through the eyes of a successful person. And for those who see their lives as lesser than, continue to put themselves in the shoes and look through the eyes of somebody who is unsuccessful, somebody who is either not enough or just labeled as a failure. Now, for myself, I began to change and develop and just grow overall because I decided to look at the world how I wanted to see the world. And that was through optimism, that was through reality, and also just being real as a whole. Understanding that the world isn't all good and the world isn't all bad. The world is what it is. Know that the world is what you make it. There will always be death, there will always be life, and everything in between is what you choose for it to be. For example, I'm constantly observing my life around me, how I act, the things I do, the people around me, what they mean to me, what I take for granted, what I show gratitude for each day. I'm constantly in this state of observation. And so I've observed that my perspective is of a creator, is of someone who wants to take control of their life, of their reality, of their world. I always say this world is too big for me to have to live in it. And I say that because so much goes on, that so much of what I know and so much of what I don't, that I don't need to live in the world of the things I don't agree with. I don't need to live in the world of the things I, in a sense, despise. I can live in a world filled with love. I can live in a world filled with creation and change. This is the world that I choose to live, therefore I choose to see the world as that. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be outside factors that aim to change my perspective, aim to mold my perspective. But again, it is my choice to let that happen. And through constant practice and meditation and just continuously wanting to learn how to be aware of who I am, what I am, and just what's going on around me, I'm now able to weed out the ideas and dogma that I do not choose to follow. And in doing that, I'm an overall happier person. I enjoy my life. I love everything I do. I love the direction that I'm going. I love the way I think. I love the way I love. And that's because I now have control over the world that I live. I now have control over the world that I see. So some tips that I would give to, just the collective and whoever is trying to just grow overall as a person, be their best self, and learn how to control their perspective or change it for the better. First off, I'd say to try and see yourself as the third person. If you're ever having a conversation with someone and they have a totally different perspective than you, try and visualize yourself as the third person. See that you have a side, they have a side, and then there's a person that can see both of these sides being made. For me, this helps remove my bias and try and see why they are making their point, why their point is valid to them, and why they believe it is their truth. It'll also allow me to see my perspective and understand that my perspective isn't the end-all be-all. It isn't automatically right because I say it is. Putting myself into that space of a third person allows me to see both sides. And then I'm able to reflect on both points of views and see which one I truly agree with. And a second thing would be to just reclaim that power you have over your perspective. You are in control. You get to choose how you see or interpret anything. Just because you've woken up late or somebody's giving you bad news doesn't mean you have to be having a bad day. You can choose to have that perspective of, now my day is ruined and I have a bad day. Or you can choose to have the perspective of, these things happen, they don't only happen to me, they happen to everyone. And how I choose to deal with whatever is happening right now will dictate how I choose to live out the rest of my day. And that choice is either positively or negatively. You have the power. You have the power to choose to see the world from the lens of somebody who's trying to get after it, somebody who's moving towards their goals and won't let anybody else dictate their outcome. And you also have the power to look at the world cynically and not want to get better at all. I mean, the choice is yours. Reclaim your power and choose to see the world through the perspective of your greatest self. And therefore that will lead you to act as such. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. There will definitely be more to come. If you liked it, leave a like. Definitely click that subscribe button to see more. Check out my social medias, Dub Collective on Instagram, Captain Dub on TikTok. And I'll see you guys again in another video. Alright? Deuces. 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 Alright. Bye.